Wow, what a great debate that was. It's over now, and it was a fiery, hot, super exciting, electrifying debate. They went after each other, they went after the issues, they fought all the way through. I have to say, on balance, Kamala Harris won this debate. She stood out. She may not have actually won it outright, but she definitely dominated the debate with the best presentation. I'll put it to you that way. I told you way back in March, I read her book, and I told you in a video that this was the book to read. Some people were surprised by Kamala Harris's performance tonight. Not me. I fully expected that. And because I've read her book, I know everything there is to know about her heart, her mind, her soul. And that's what will bring Kamala Harris success in this Democratic primary contest. I have to also say, you guys all know that my favorite has always been Bernie Sanders. I think Brother Bernie did a great job tonight. His closing statement, in my opinion, was the best of the closing statements tonight. His presentation was fiery and hot. I love Bernie because he's real, he's authentic, and he fights for his convictions, and he doesn't poll test. He doesn't create a public policy position because of a particular campaign. No, he's been fighting for the same causes for the last 40 years. And my personal priority is a universal, single-payer health care plan like the Medicare for All that they are proposing. And there's no one who I trust to fight for that universal, single-payer Medicare for All plan than Bernie Sanders, the originator. The candidates on this stage tonight are only talking about Medicare for All because 4 years ago, Bernie Sanders introduced the idea, and that's an idea he's had for 40 years. So I still like Bernie very, very much because of his position on healthcare, and because I know that out of everybody on that stage, he is not a professionally phony politician. He's a fighter for the causes he believes in, and I know he believes in universal single-payer health care, and I know that's what he's going to fight for. I trust him to fight. However, I also trust Kamala Harris to fight. And when they asked for the hands raised of who would institute Medicare for All without private corporate health insurance, Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders raised their hands. And that's all I need personally, because I don't want those greedy, nasty, ugly corporate health insurance companies involved in a future healthcare system in the United States of America. That's why I also trust Kamala Harris. We have an embarrassment of riches in this Democratic primary. And Kamala and Bernie, in my view, lead the pack. Now, Uncle Joe, I thought he was a little sluggish tonight. I thought he was a little dry. And quite frankly, I really think that time has passed him. He's been involved as in Washington for 47 years now, 47 years in Washington. I think we've reached the limit on Joe Biden. And believe me, back in the 1980s, I was on board the Joe Biden presidential campaign then, in 1987, when he ran in a primary before he dropped out. I've always been a big Joe Biden fan, but I think the time has passed him. We have more credible, more modern, more forceful candidates like Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris as an example in the race. Even Professor Elizabeth Warren also makes a better alternative than Joe Biden, in my opinion. Who else? Pete Buttigieg. I think he's a good mayor, but I really believe this is not his race. I think he's way out of his league, and my suggestion to Pete Buttigieg is, for heaven's sake, go run for governor of Indiana, or run for the United States Senate in Indiana. Try to expand your base than being a small-town mayor. Being a small-town mayor, he's dealing with some terrible, terrible crises right now in South Bend, and it shows that he's not really up to the task. He's smart. He's almost brilliant, I would say, articulate, but I just don't think he has enough of exposure to a broader range of electoral politics or larger governance. Andrew Yang, he impressed me. He's never, ever going to win the nomination, but I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's smart, he's sharp, and he doesn't wear a tie, which stands out from the rest of the pack. Kristen Gillibrand, I never really warmed up to Kristen Gillibrand, so I have not much to say about her. And quite frankly, the only other person I have anything to say about is Marianne Williamson from California, who I have to say impressed me. I like her. I don't think for a minute she belongs on that stage or that she belongs in the Oval Office, but for heaven's sakes, she makes a lot of sense, and I think she really speaks common sense to the people. I think there's a reason why she's a motivational speaker, and she writes inspiring books. That's because she has the finger on the pulse of what the people need. And she was absolutely right when she talked about healthcare, that we have to even look at it as a broad range of preventative healthcare and everything in a larger picture. She's the big picture person, I could tell. And I give her a lot of credit for that. So I'm not diminishing her contribution to this field. But she's certainly not going to win. So I have to say that Kamala Harris won the night, and Bernie Sanders was a very close second. And to me, in my personal opinion, it's between these two, and probably also Professor Warren, who's really grown on me over the past couple of months, in third place. And that's really what this race should be about. Those three, Warren, Sanders, and Kamala. And I'm still loving Bernie because that guy will fight to the death for the issues he believes in. He's authentic. I also believe Kamala is authentic. And I believe she's got the prosecutorial muscle, the prosecutorial spine to take on the incumbent president. And most of all, if she was to win the Oval Office, I think she would have the prosecutorial stomach and strength and muscle to get the agenda that the people want implemented. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Have a wonderful night. Once again, this is the very beginning of this process. We're a long, long way off before the first caucus and primaries in Iowa and New Hampshire. I think it's about 17 months away. And so it's a long journey. And who knows, by the time the end of 2019 comes around, I'm sure this field is going to be whittled down significantly, and we'll have a whole new, fresh perspective on the remaining contenders. So there you go. Those are my thoughts. Have a great night. Bye-bye.